Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. So, on today's show, you know how I like to help people. Remember, I just recently helped the Democrat Party, put their policies out there and what they actually stand for. Today, I am going to help the media industry. See, what I'm going to do today, it's going to be called Dan Writes the Headlines. Because so many of these left wing leaning rags write headlines that don't go with the story they're reporting. So I figured, hey, you know what? I have to help them too. So I'm going to help them today. So this is from Newsweek and Anna D. Liz. And it's dated Friday, September 25th, 2020. So it just came out today. But she wrote the wrong headline, so Dan's going to help her out. You're welcome, Anna. So the original headline is Car Chased Down and Blocked by LA Protesters. Driver Assaulted in Video. Now, it's actually a pretty good headline. But Dan has to tell the true story. So another thing Dan has decided to do is not call Black Lives Matter anymore. Actually, Black Lives Matter LLC. I'm not going to call them Black Lives Matter anymore because, honestly, Black lives don't matter to them. I'm going to call it Communist Lives Matter. So BLM has become CLM, Communist Lives Matter. Because if you're not communist, they really don't care what color you are. You could be blacker than the night. You could be whiter than the stripes on the Texas flag. They don't care. So, as I said, I'm going to help her write this headline. Then I'm going to read you the article. And you tell me which headline fits better. So hers was Car Chased Down and Blocked by LA Protesters, Driver Assaulted in Video. The headline should read, Communist Surround Car Attempt to Murder Driver. So let me read you the article. It says here, and remember in this article, anywhere it says Black Lives Matter or BLM, I'm going to change it to Communist Lives Matter or CLM. There you go. A car was chased down and his driver heckled by protesters shortly after a second van driver hit a person who was marching during a demonstration in Hollywood, Los Angeles on Thursday night. Now, what she leaves out of this article is they weren't just marching, they were blocking the street, not letting anybody through, attacking people in their cars. That's what she's leaving out. Protests have taken place over the last 2 days following the decision not to indict police officers on criminal charges directly related to the death of Breonna Taylor. According to the Los Angeles Police Department, around 300 people gathered at Hollywood Forever Cemetery before marching through the streets of Hollywood. So, I'm going to have to help her out with the whole article. I see that now. But it's okay because Dan does not mind helping people. That's why I'm here. So instead of 300 people gathered, it should read 300 communists hell-bent on destruction gathered at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery before riding, it shouldn't be marching, it should be riding, before riding through the streets of Hollywood. That's how it should read. The police department reported that a white car attempted to drive around the protest and became involved in an altercation with some of the crowd before driving forward down the street. So, I got to rewrite this whole article for Anna. It's okay, Anna. Dan's not going to charge you for this. See, it's my civic duty to help out the Democrats and mainstream media. So I'm going to do that. How it should read is, the police department reported that a white car attempted to drive around the communist. It became involved in an became violently attacked by the majority of the crowd before attempting to escape down the street. So the original paragraph read, the police department reported that a white car attempted to drive around the protest and became involved in an altercation with some of the crowd before driving forward down the street. It should actually read, the police department reported that a white car, minding its own business, was attacked by violent communists and attempted to escape. A black police truck, she says the black police truck, or the black pickup truck, not police truck, the black pickup truck that was leading the protest, then accelerated and pinned the white car in. While the pickup's driver attempted to get the white Prius's driver out of the car, he or she attempted to get away from the scene, driving into a green Mustang behind it. As a Mustang fan, that pisses me off. She goes on to say both drivers of the pickup and the green Mustang then attempted to get the driver of the white car out from his vehicle, but this driver was able to get away from the scene. Now, how that should read is driver blocked in by communists who were committing assault. However, the driver was able to escape, hopefully without injury. So she goes on to justify these communists doing this. Shortly before this, there was another incident down the road where a protester was hit by a van before his driver drove away. That's actually not how her sentence should read. Man, Anna, you know what? I actually might have to charge you for changing your article or helping you with your article. This should say, earlier in the day, communists attempted to extract a man from his van who was minding his own business and attempted to block him in. He managed to escape, although he hit a communist on his way to get to safety. The LAPD said, this is from her article again, the LAPD said that the pickup truck became involved in an altercation, and as the driver attempted to get away from the situation, he ended up striking one of the demonstrators. That individual was transported to a local hospital with minor injuries. So, people aren't stopping for you idiots anymore. How's that feel? The investigation, this is from her article, the investigation around the incidents is ongoing, the LAPD said. Also noting that all of the drivers and victims involved in both altercations have been identified by Hollywood officers. Protests erupted on Wednesday as soon as the indictment for Brett Hankinson, one of the 3 officers involved in the raid of Breonna Taylor's home, was announced. He was charged with 3 felony counts of wanton endangerment in connection to the raid, which led to the killing of Taylor in March. Kentucky likes this wanton endangerment stuff. Really weird. It's like they have a crush on it. I don't know. These charges relate to the shooting and to other apartments during the raid, and there were no charges for any of the officers directly pertaining to the killing of the former EMT. So this is how this sentence should read. There were no charges for any of the officers investigating a drug ring. That's how it should read. Amid the protests following the announcement of the indictment in Louisville, Kentucky, where Taylor was killed, 2 officers were shot. No, that's not how it should read. Here's how that sentence should read. You know what? I'm going to send Anna an invoice. She needs to pay me for this because I'm having to rewrite this whole article, and really it's rough on me. But hey, you know what? This is my duty. I have to do it. So it just, it is what it is. So instead of saying amid the protests following the announcement of the indictment in Louisville, Kentucky, where Taylor was killed, 2 officers were shot. It should say amid the protests or amid the riots following the announcement of the indictment in Louisville, Kentucky, where drug queenpin was killed, 2 officers were victims of an attempted assassination. How's that feel? So 2 officers were victims of an attempted assassination. On Thursday, Kentucky State Representative Attica Scott was arrested. She's the author of Breonna's Law, a piece of legislation that called for a ban of no-knock warrants in Louisville. Members of the Louisville Metropolitan Police Department were allegedly serving a no-knock warrant when they shot through Taylor's apartment in March, killing her. So, how it should read is Attica Scott, leader of the communist resistance in Louisville, Kentucky, authored a piece of legislation that had nothing to do with the case, because apparently they were not serving a no-knock warrant. When they shot through Taylor's apartment in March, killing her, where they returned fire on a suspected drug dealer, her new boyfriend. So let's reread that. On Thursday, Kentucky State Representative Attica Scott was arrested. She is the author of Breonna's Law, a piece of legislation that calls for a ban of no-knock warrants in Louisville. Members of the Louisville Metropolitan Police Department were allegedly serving a no-knock warrant when they shot through Taylor's apartment in March, killing her. So it should read, on Thursday, communist leader Attica Scott was finally arrested. She is the author of Breonna's Law, a piece of legislation that has absolutely nothing to do with this case at all, because they were not serving a no-knock warrant. Police were violently attacked by Breonna Taylor's new boyfriend, who probably, honestly, had no idea what was going on in the situation. Because from my understanding, he had nothing to do with the drug game. He was a law-abiding citizen. So he was a square. And the square got wrapped up in her bullshit. So, alrighty. I just wanted to rewrite these articles for you, ladies and gentlemen. And so you can get a true understanding of what's going on. So thank you for watching this episode of The Dan Dawson Show. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do.